It's the SKOR North Twin Show.
We might have some good news here, gentlemen. Might have some good news here. I don't know if you saw this. So the Twins played a game yesterday. Mm-hmm. They beat up on the Oakland A's again. Twins are headed toward, if they sweep, so what do they got here? They got, is it 4 more games? Are they playing? No, they haven't. Yeah, they play one more today, and then
Colorado.
And then 3 against Colorado.
In Colorado.
If they win all 4 of those, we're talking 89 wins. That's respectable enough.
Had a great month.
But earlier in the day yesterday, there was a simulated game played at Target Field, which is basically, I don't know, they just simulate different situations for Royce Lewis, testing out that hamstring. Royce Lewis, in an empty Target Field several hours before fans are let in, hit a bomb into the left field bleachers in a simulated game. And this is what he said to the Star Tribune. I feel really good at the plate. It was just good for me, honestly, to know that I can still see the ball. We faced some really good pitchers on Wednesday. I don't know who they ran out at him, but it was like he was facing like actual pitching. That's always a good sign when you can see their sliders, changeups, curveballs, whatever they're throwing, and still feel confident up there. He connected with a fastball and drove it into the empty left field bleachers. A home run that didn't count on the scoreboard, but could have big implications for the postseason.
Oh.
That's great news. That's great news. So
I think he's going to give it a go.
He's going to give it a go.
Yeah, I think he's going to DH. I think he's going to DH. I think Buxton's not going to be, although they're trying to tease that Buxton could now play center. I have a hard time believing Buxton's going to be put into center for the first time in a big league game in how long, in a playoff game. So, but yes, I think Royce is going to DH. I think he's not going to play third base, but you know what? I want him and his bat in there. So anything Royce can give you, provided he doesn't, do something horrific to the hamstring, but anything that he can give you is absolutely a huge plus.
Yeah. So on the Buxton front, we should just we should go through, because there's a lot of newsy stuff here. So we get the Royce Lewis thing.
Sure.
There's a Buxton nugget. We know who the first 2 pitchers in order are going to be in that rotation. We'll get to an immaculate grid here, but Byron Buxton. So he played 2 games for the Saints, September 21st, September 24th, in his second attempt at coming back here to finish out the season. He was 1 for 8 with a few strikeouts, but he was out there DHing. Do you think they're really going to, because they're leaving this door open, and they continue to sort of leave the center field door open as well? Unless Michael Taylor's hurt, which he's been out there, right? Like, I don't know how you can't justify trying the center field thing for the first time all year in a playoff game, right?
No, I think that'd be a huge mistake. And again, I think if you have Buxton active, especially in the first round, and there's question marks, there's going to be a temptation to use him. Here's my opinion of late. Provided that Lewis and Correa can come back and be fine, or at least a semblance of who they have been, especially with Correa, not necessarily at the plate, but at shortstop. I don't think there's a need to bring Buxton. Like it would feel sort of panicked and rushed if you were slumping, right? And center field was a gong show. Let's say it's 3 years ago and Max Kepler is playing there, and he's just a superior right fielder, but you're trying to shoehorn him in at center, and now Buxton could possibly come back. I can sort of get that panic. But I'm with you. Michael A. Taylor has done everything you have asked. He's hit for power. He's not great at the plate, but he's not a complete disaster. And in center field, he's been really good. So yeah, I don't see the need to make what would feel like a panic move for a team that's playing well. And the other thing too is, Buxton was out in center field for a game for the Saints. The next night, or 2 nights after, he tried to DH and the knee flared up. Why do you really, do you really think that the knee's fine now? So yes, I think it would actually present more problems to try to get Buxton in than it would be to say, let's roll with what we've been doing, because what we've been doing has been working.
Yeah. And also on the Michael A. Taylor front, so of the there's been 16 qualified center fielders this year. So guys who've played enough in center field to qualify. He's 7th in defensive runs saved. He's an above average defensive center fielder, and he's had like 300 fewer innings than some of the guys in front of him because they don't necessarily use him for entire games, or sometimes they sit him. So we're talking about a well above average. Let me describe this to you right now. Do you think, and he's very close to 30 now, isn't he, Byron Buxton? Is he 29? Going to turn 30 years old?
He's 29.
So
Correct,
he's
29.
no longer like a 25-year-old cheetah here, okay? Like,
Right.
When's the last time you saw him full-on sprinting in a game?
He's got a bad
Not
knee,
this year. Yeah. With knee problems, arthritis, or whatever condition it is. If I said to you, hey, the Twins can put out in the playoffs, they can put out an above-average defensive center fielder who had 20-plus home runs. He can definitely hit a home run in a game, and you can just stick him out there and not worry about it. Would you take that, or would you be like, I don't know, I need to see what's with all the rest of the things they have, or would you be curious about door number 2? I just don't know that door number 2, it's not what it was 3 years ago.
No.
And what's the % chance that it is? I just run Michael Taylor out there.
This team is better as constructed without Byron Buxton in the lineup. And I know Buxton's hurt. Yes, at the peak powers, Byron Buxton is a game-changing MLB player. But we talk about this team making a run with a great pitching staff and a really now interesting bullpen and a young core of players who are doing things with rookies we haven't seen in a while, all without Byron Buxton. There's no reason to shoehorn Byron Buxton into this equation if you know what you're getting with Michael A. Taylor in center field. And it's even more bizarre that literally we're talking about Andrew Stevenson having more merit on a roster for the playoffs than Byron Buxton. Imagine that in April. We talk about going back. You just gave it a scenario of, hey, we'll give you a center fielder with 20 home runs. Imagine the Twins have clinched the AL Central. They have a legit shot to maybe even make some noise. And we're actually talking about Andrew Stevenson having a more worthy spot on the playoff roster than Byron Buxton.
And you kind of saw it last night in the 8th inning, right?
Yeah,
Stevenson comes in. He scores. He scored from first base on that double by Trevor Larnach, right?
Correct.
And it's the A's, I get it, but the principle is the same. Hey, and I think Bramer even brought it up on the broadcast, saying this is a scenario that could easily happen in the postseason where Andrew Stevenson comes into pinch run for Matt Wallner or something, and someone hits a ball down the line. Can he score from first base? And last night he did.
Stevenson, to me, is a better choice because there's no confusion with his role, too. Like, he's a bench guy. He's going to pinch run. Perhaps in a pinch, he can go in defensively as a replacement if Taylor pulls something. But there's no confusion there. That's the thing is I don't want to provide – Buxton's presence is going to provide confusion from Rocco on down. Rocco is going to think, what should I do? Should I try to DH him? Should I try to – if Royce Lewis is going to DH, which looks like a probability, should I try to play him? Yeah. And here's the sad thing too, but this is a fact. Stevenson as a late game pinch runner is a complete known. Byron Buxton at this point has a bad knee.
Yeah.
So can he go all out? Probably not. So yeah, I think that there is a very nice bench role for Stevenson. I think if you try and make the Buxton thing work, you're actually going to cause some confusion as to what he should be doing. And the last thing is, when he has played, he's been a strikeout machine.
Yep. I would only consider him. I'm okay with him on the roster if it makes sense. This is where it sounds crazy again, but Andrew Stevenson is going to maybe get you a stolen base or score from second or first late in a playoff game. If you think Buxton can fulfill that role and maybe be a guy that could hit a 3-run bomb off the bench in the 7th, because I'd rather have Buxton at the plate, even in his current condition, than Stevenson. But I think I'd rather have Stevenson on the base path or playing center field, even if you have to shuffle Michael Taylor out for a better hitter or whatever it is, right? So I'm not against having him on the roster, but I think there's so many other things to prioritize before Buxton.
If Royce can't go, so he's gonna, or he started to try to give the hamstring a shot. Now let's just say he can't go, and they get to Tuesday, and I believe that if I'm not mistaken, the 26-man roster for the playoff, the first round has to be submitted Tuesday morning, if Lewis cannot play, do you try and get Buxton in?
I do.
Does that change your answer?
It does.
Okay.
But I also I don't know that I start Julian in the field. I think Julian is my DH, and then I have Polanco at second. I have Correa, assuming he's active, at short, and then like maybe Kyle Farmer is my third baseman. I don't think I put Julian in the field if Royce Lewis isn't out there. I have Buxton as a bench bat. I need that's the problem. If Royce is out, I'm looking for a guy that can hit a 2-run homer in the 7th inning. And if Buxton needs to spend an hour in the cage getting loose and ready to make that happen, do whatever you got to do.
So here's my fear. If Royce can't go, and I know it's trending well now, but it's a hamstring, so like he's got to test it.
Yeah.
So if Royce can't go, here's my fear. My fear is they then activate Buxton, they DH Buxton, and they put Polanco at third. Polanco has played third pretty quietly twice on this homestand, including last night. And he makes some plays there, and I'm not saying it's a disaster. I feel like it's tempting fate, though. In a playoff game where every little piece of minutia is important, I feel Polanco at third tempts fate. Like I get the bats being in there, but from a fielding standpoint, he throws like a second baseman. He's a very good second baseman, but I think trying to get him to play third base in the pressure of a playoff game where there's just everything is magnified.
Yep,
makes me nervous.
Play second. Correa and Polanco up the middle, and then kind of and Julian's the DH. He's the DH. Another piece of news from yesterday. So we now have confirmation. Pablo Lopez is the game 1 starter on Tuesday, and Sonny Gray will be the game 2 starter on Wednesday. Couple of really good options. If things go south for Pablo Lopez and the Twins lose game 1, you got maybe a top 3, top 5 Cy Young candidate in Sonny Gray having one of the best seasons of his career coming in for game number 2. And Mitch Johnson asks this question here. A little feedback Friday on a Thursday for you guys. You can always hit us up, by the way, the SKOR North YouTube channel comments on the Twin Show episodes, and then the feedback tab on the SKOR North app. Great places to send your comments, your takes. If you have a hot take like Declan did earlier this week, fire away. Mitch says, if the Twins win a playoff game with Pablo Lopez as the starting pitcher, whether he gets the win or not, but like just a game in which he starts, is it justifiable to say that the Lopez Arise trade was a success and actually worked better for the Twins? Or are there other factors that say the trade is still too early to tell and that there might be some dismay at the trade?
I think this conversation to me is so much deeper than that. First of all, I think both teams won. So like, I don't think that there is if you were to rank this trade, I don't think that you would put a check by the Marlins or a check by the Twins and be like, the other team got screwed. I think both teams won. And I think that we on this show from day one have had this conversation. Okay. The negative of the trade is that Derek Falvey was hired as a pitching whisperer, a pitching expert who was going to draft pitching, and they were going to develop a homegrown rotation. So you wouldn't have to trade guys. So like Luis Ariz could be capitalized on because you've got, 3 arms, right? Well, that has not taken place. But the Lopez trade, like, I don't see it as this clear win-loss. I see it as I am surprised that Twins have had to go this route this substantially to acquire pitching from outside, when I thought that the guys coming to the Twins on the inside in Falvey was the guy who was going to find arms. But as far as the trade goes, just to be very, very clear here, Derek Falvey's deadline deals for the most part have not been good. Derek Falvey's offseason trades, especially for pitching, and the dump trade of Nelson Cruz to the Rays for Joe Ryan, which came in, I believe, at the deadline, have been very good. So Gray's been a great find. Lopez has been outstanding. And Ryan, Maeda too. So this has never been about this like clear black and white, Twins win, Twins lose the trade. This is about the fact that it is disappointing that the Twins have not developed more pitching with guys that we thought sort of had the Cleveland formula. Dex?
I mean, yeah, both teams won the trade. And we come up with fun, crazy, mostly reckless trade ideas all the time. But in reality, when you have to make a trade like this, you have to trade from either a position of strength or a position that's expendable, right? Like you can replace it or you're better off without him. And that's the avenue that Falvey had to choose to get Pablo Lopez here. He had to trade a batting champion, but a guy who really doesn't fit with the glove, and really a guy who's mostly I don't mean to call him a singles hitter, but a guy who doesn't have a lot of pop. And they figured that the rest of their lineup can still be okay without a batting champion in it. And that's the path they chose. I think it's worked out great for the Twins. It's clearly worked out well for the Marlins. They're probably going to be postseason bound too, which is cool to see. But that's the parameters that they had to deal with going into this trade.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me now that we've seen a full season play out. We've seen the value of Pablo Lopez, and then we've seen Luis Arraez's replacement come in, Edward Julian, and be excellent. I mean, he's one of the best rookies in the entire league. It reminds me a little bit of 20 years ago now. It wasn't quite this level of fleecing, but the Twins traded AJ Pierzynski to the San Francisco Giants because they needed pitching. So they traded AJ because at the time it was like they had Johan Santana kind of coming up as a starter. Brad Radke was on the way out. He had a couple years left in him, but they were literally using like Rick Reed and Kenny Rogers and these old guys. They needed some pitching. Yep. So they traded AJ Pierzynski. They wind up getting Francisco Liriano. Joe Nathan right away became one of the best closers in baseball. And then Boof Bonser was a rotation guy for a couple of years. So you actually get a ton. But the biggest thing was you replaced AJ Pierzynski with Joe Mauer. So Joe Mauer went on to be possibly a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying Julian's a Hall of Famer, but the principle is the same, where you're going to trade from a position of strength because you think you have a young guy coming up that can just step right in and get a major league ready pitcher. And then the guy that steps in doesn't miss a beat. He's just awesome. Now, Mauer actually got hurt in the first month of the 2004 season, and Henry Blanco took over, and the Twins went to the playoffs. So from that perspective, and by the way, statistically, if you want to look at wins above replacement, Pablo Lopez worth 4.5 wins above replacement this year. Luis Arraez, 3.5. So it's a pitcher versus a hitter, and there's other factors that go in here. But okay, Arraez compared to Julian. Arraez has an 860 OPS. Julian, 832 OPS. You're not even like dropping off that much when you start to compare like the on base and the slugging that Julian brings. So it worked out really well for the Twins. I still feel a little bit the same way Judd does, which is, well, if you had done a better job over 7 years developing internal pitching, you wouldn't have to trade. But at some point, you would have had to trade one of these middle infielders anyways. Can you imagine right now if you had it would be a pile of riches if you had Carlos Correa, Luis Arraez, you had Jorge Polanco, Edward Julian, Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, like all these dudes are shortstops and second basemen. You would have had to trade one for a pitcher at some point anyways. It just so happened to be Arraez at the beginning of the year.
The next rule change in baseball, 2 DHs, one for the pitcher and one for the slappy that can't hit. Can you imagine? Like and he's hit a bunch of home runs, so he's been somewhat productive. But can you imagine like if Arraez could have DH'd for Michael A. Taylor, for instance?
Wow.
Like if you want to get that bat. So now you've got Arraez because I mean that's the one problem is the position thing. It also, like, before people get too excited too, if Tyler Mahle or Chris Paddock hadn't gotten hurt, and in Paddock's case, you also then probably have more pitching, so you might not have to make these trades. Yeah. But Lopez was obtained, was then pretty much after 4 starts, signed to an extension. So I mean that's going to go down as a good trade.
Yep.
We're not going to be like
rock solid.
Yeah. And plus I like the fact too that Gray and Lopez definitively want the baseball and like can pitch through trouble. I feel like that's been a shortcoming of recent Twins teams, that when some starters got in trouble, it's like, oh, okay, game's over, or they're done.
Would get a little bit that way.
Barrios
would get that way. Yeah.
And Barrios would be lights out, and he was fantastic. But yeah, he'd start to struggle, and it would be like he'd sort of start to melt down. Yeah. Gray and Lopez definitely struggle at times, but I don't think they melt down. They pitch through it.
Lopez also is having one of the best strikeout seasons on a strikeouts per 9 basis of any Twin starter in history.
Yeah.
So he can go out there, and if he puts a couple guys on base, he can get a big strikeout.
So yes,
if
it's
he needs
worked.
to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good question, though. Good question from. Hey, boys, the Twins are on the grid today. Twins are on the grid. We have confirmed Twins on the grid.
I was told I'll like the grid too, which I'm very excited. I have not peaked. No peak.
I'm gonna or Declan's gonna unveil it for me as well. I just know that the Twins are on the grid here with you. So before we get to the immaculate grid, a shout out to our friends at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden. It's tailgating season here. You know, there's a little crisp in the air. And if you want to get into tailgating season in style, Fratelloni's is one of the largest Weber dealers in the state. They're here to help you kick off tailgating season with a brand new Weber grill. This on the YouTube channel is exclusive footage of Declan's kebabs. That's right. Show us your kebabs on that Weber grill. Wings, steak, kebabs, burgers, all sorts of fun things you could put on a Weber grill. If you go to scorenorth.com and enter the keyword Weber, you can find out more information. And Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden has more than 20 metro locations for you to stop in at and see some of these glorious grilling machines. All right, boys. Twins are on the grid. Let's put 8 minutes on the clock here just for some parameters, just to keep us in line. We're looking to go 9 for 9. That's how we stay immaculate. Oh, look at this. It's like every team with red in its logo apparently is on this grid.
Loving him is red.
And because the Twins are on the grid, I think we can go for a rarity score here, boys. Let's see how much damage we can do with the rarity score. So we're looking for a Twin who was once a red, a Twin who was once a Ranger. Oh, man, there's so many names popping in here. A Twin who was once an Angel, a red who was a Brave, and a red who struck out 200 in a season.
Yep.
A Ranger who was a Brave, and a Ranger who struck out 200 in a season. And then an Angel who was a Brave, and an Angel who struck out 200 in a season. 8 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
Start with Reds.
Sure.
Who was the... remember when Jason Bartlett took over for a shortstop in the Piranha
Castro.
season? Juan
Yeah,
Castro.
Yep.
Juan Castro was a red.
Yep.
Here's another one for you. This is more Judd's era, but
John Smiley was a red.
John Smiley went from the Twins to the Reds in the. That was the big acquisition.
We've
in
done that
92
one
for the Twins.
before. We've done
the
that one
A's.
before. We've done that one before, and I want to say the rarity on that one was not as good as we thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Juan
Kyle
Castro is
Loesch.
probably pretty rare.
Kyle Loesch also works for both these squares. You
For-
finish with Texas.
Yeah, old school.
He's down. Loesch.
Old school for Texas and the Twins. We've got Royce Smalley. We've got Bly. Look at that, Phil. 0.2%.
0.2.
Point
Juan
two.
Castro.
We did it. Oh my
Nice.
God. Let's go. Let's go.
We've got Blylevin. We've got Smalley. We've got Loesch.
Kenny Rogers. You just mentioned Kenny Rogers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Kenny
played
Rogers. All
Who
right,
played
here's
for
another.
Texas 3 times.
Another obscure one. I mentioned him earlier this week, or last week. We were talking about. It was Monday. We were talking about champagne celebrations, and I brought
Oh,
up
I got one.
funniest guys that have been celebrating in a clubhouse, and Phil Nevin was one.
I just
Phil
got
Nevin
one.
also played for the Rangers and the Angels.
I just got one. I just got one that came to mind.
For
Pat for Ranger Twin. Pat Putnam.
Pat Putnam. Oh my God.
Pat
Right.
Putnam.
That sounds good to me. If you're
I'm
Pat
positive.
Putnam, oh come on.
Rangers and Twins. I'm just making sure here.
Yep.
Okay. Oh my God.
0.04.
0.04.
Look at this guy.
Pat Putnam.
Pat Putnam.
Judd Zolgad coming in off the top rope.
84?
All right. Who did you say, Phil?
So Phil Nevin,
Nevin.
is a little bit like Edwin Jackson. I know he played for Cubs, Twins, Padres, Rangers, Angels.
Okay.
Okay.
So I know he played for the Angels, but are there other players that?
So the Twins and Angels back in the late 70s, early 80s had like a pipeline.
They had a player exchange.
Are you going to pull another Pat Putnam on us
like
right now?
the Carew trade and all of that? Rob Wilfong.
And you're certain he played for both teams? He wasn't just a pass-through?
No. He played second base for both teams. Rob Wilfong. There he is.
Wilfong?
I'm
You're
positive
just
about
making
this.
names up, dude.
I'm
This is
positive
amazing.
about this.
Point three.
I'm out.
Another name I would have been curious about there is Ramon Ortiz.
I was
from,
going
like,
to say Phil, Brian Fuentes.
Brian Fuentes. It's a good one. Ricky
Uh,
Nolasco.
Hey, we got also multiple Twins options here. So Bartolo would work, I believe, for both of these squares. Now, 200 strikeouts. I believe Irvin Santana did that with the Angels.
I believe so too. But that's let's hold off on that for a second.
But that's in our back pocket. But AJ Pierzynski for Braves and Rangers.
Bounced around.
And there's
Let's
probably
use
other
AJ.
ones too.
Let's use
here.
AJ.
1%.
Let's go.
This is
Hey,
so.
Oh,
Let's keep
Bartolo
our
played
cool.
for both these teams too. Bartolo played for both these.
for Braves and Angels. Well, definitely
He played-
Angels, right? Didn't he win a
played for the
Cy Young
Braves,
Award with
right?
the Angels?
Yeah, he won with Cy Young with the Angels. Braves. I'm pretty sure he played for the Braves.
We'll mark it down. We're not in a hurry here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to hear pretty. I like it. Okay, Braves and Angels.
I'm just writing some names down here. Bartolo Colon, Irvin Santana. So we're looking for the audio audience. We're looking for a Brave who was a Red and a Brave who was an Angel, and then we'll get to the 200 strikeout stuff.
And we're trying to think of former Twins that crossed through.
Didn't Bartolo? So, I'm sorry. Bartolo pitched before when he was awesome. He pitched for the Guardians.
Yep.
And the Angels, right?
Those were his first two teams.
His main teams. And didn't
And
he
he's
win
like-
a Cy Young? He wasn't a huge strikeout guy though, so I don't know about the 200 Ks.
Wait. No, he came to the Twins from the Angels put him the Braves put him on waivers. The Twins claimed him in 2017.
Okay.
I'm certain of this now.
Okay, let's use
I'm
him.
certain of this.
Let's use him. Bartolo Colon. 5%.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right.
Hey, Phil, question for you.
Deion Sanders for Red, who was a Brave.
Yeah.
could work.
But wait. Question though. Did Kerry Lightenberg pitch for the Reds?
Oh,
Or was it
I
just
worked
the
with
Braves?
I mean, for
I don't-
sure Braves. For sure
Braves.
Braves.
Right.
ah,
I'm not saying I'm positive of that by any means.
love
I'm
Kerry. Great guy.
It's a legit
Those
question.
mutton chops.
He's
Yep,
good.
great guy.
He's a good out of the bullpen.
Great
Real
dude.
good.
Lightenberg. If we want to show
But-
off at
but-
the end. Why
but
do
we
you
don't know
think
for sure.
Reds? Why, you just have a vision, or
I just but it's a vision. It's cloudy. It might be very cloudy.
okay?
So if you guys don't recall it, let's not do it.
Okay.
Let's think on some of these 200 strikeout guys. So Reds, who was Judd,
staying on
90s. Jose Rio.
Okay. I was gonna say Cueto, but if
I'm
you guys are
deferring to you guys
confident
on-
with Rio,
I'm not.
okay.
I'm shaking on these categories. I'm shaking.
But let's no. We
Let's
just
not
need, we
ignore
need
it.
big. We need big arms. Are you just quitting? Are you done?
No,
You got,
no.
Pat
I'm
Putman in,
saying
and you're just like, good.
Jose Rio. That's my strength. That's my
Okay,
wheelhouse is players.
You're just Judge, just quitting.
I'm
the
not
grid.
quitting. I'm not quitting. I'm just saying
You're trying
Jose
to avoid
Rio
fault,
was a
Kirk.
very
Trying
good
to
pitcher.
avoid fault,
Yes,
huh?
I don't want fault here because I've screwed us up on this before.
I think we should be aggressive here. We have a chance for like
All
an
right.
all-time rarity
All
score.
right, that's cool.
So we're just writing some names down here. Jose Rio.
He was
You
very
know,
good.
you know who else was a good pitcher for the Reds? Two
Browning.
guys. Okay, Tom Browning.
Tom Browning was a good pitcher, but I don't know if he's a 200 strikeout guy.
Two other names.
Tom Seaver.
Okay, I'm writing names down.
Sorry.
Tom Seaver. Now I don't know the names. Corey Lytle had a couple good seasons with the
Oh.
Reds.
The late Corey Lytle. He crashed his plane into a building,
I don't know if he got to 200. I feel
In
like he did.
Manhattan.
I feel like he got close one year.
I think. Yeah?
Rangers, Nolan Ryan, obviously.
Yeah.
That's an obvious one.
Blyleven get to 200 there?
He was a big strikeout guy.
Yeah. And he was traded in I think the summer of 76 and pitched for him till 78, I think. And then went to Pittsburgh.
We got a bunch of names here. Bunch of names.
Let's fire Irvin Santana for Angels.
Okay.
I'm with you on this one. My question would be rarity score. Is it too obvious?
Well,
I think you're right. Because
I mean-
he was a horse, man.
2.
2%.
2%,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
My guess is the Angels and Rangers top guy in both cases will be Nolan Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Because he
Most
pitched for both
By the way,
teams.
we also have, in terms of immaculate, we are currently 6 for 6 on former Twins right now.
Oh, yeah.
Could we pull this off using only Twins players? Burt Blyleven as the Ranger.
Oh, God, that'd be...
This would be insane if we could do it.
Oh.
How confident, Judd? We weren't even alive, man. This is the 70s.
Well, he struck out a
Burt's
lot.
one of the biggest strikeout guys in
yeah.
Major League history, and pitched a ton of innings.
Okay.
So Cole Hamels finished with the Rangers, and he still had some gas in the tank. Cole Hamels is a backup plan.
Okay.
It's a backup
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, was Cole still?
He was still fine with the Rangers.
How about did Roy Oswalt pitch for the Rangers?
Yes.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Oh, boy.
The problem with like the newer pitchers is they didn't pitch.
Right. Exactly.
Oftentimes they wouldn't pitch enough innings, or they got hurt for like a month, and there's no way they would reach 200 strikeouts if they aren't pitching enough. That's why I kind of like Blyleven, because it's the 70s, man. Like he probably made 38 starts, or pitching 8 innings every single game. And what about a Brave who was a Red?
You said Dion.
Dion's gonna be
number 1.
He'll be very high.
I don't know if he'll be 1, but he'll probably be in the 10 to 20 range.
This is great. Oh, this is a grind. This is a grind, man. This is a grind.
Did Gerald Cheney play?
I got to get to Wolves Media Day at some point here too, but I'm in here with you guys.
Yeah, dude, come on. Priorities straight. Yeah.
Did Rosario go to the Reds? That also might be high.
Eddie Rosario, he was Guardians.
Yeah.
Guardians Braves.
Yeah, he didn't go to the Reds. Who's an old schooler who might have gone from here to the Reds and Braves? Trying to think of Twins and Braves connections. I can't think
Mark
of
Wohlers go to the Reds?
He might have. Where did the Twins here's an obscure one. Where did the Twins get Adrianza from?
Harry Adrianza.
Yeah, because he then was a Brave after he left here.
Giants?
Oh, okay. All right. So
Giants.
Yeah.
He was Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any catchers?
Did Henry
Damn, dude.
Did Henry Blanco go to the Reds?
I did.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he did not, because I just looked at that list a couple days ago.
All right.
This is tense, because we have an all-time rarity score going right now, boys. It's literally like 8%.
I do not.
I don't want to be wrong on this part. I'm willing to bet that Phil's right on Bert.
Okay, here are the names we have. We have for Rangers. We've got Bert. We've got Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels, Nolan Ryan, Kenny Rogers. I don't know that Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers was damn good early in his career, but he was not a big strikeouts guy.
He's an all-star, I think.
Those guys are dangerous, man, because he threw a lot of innings at like a 5 strikeouts per 9 or 8, which means he'd have to throw 400 innings. He didn't throw that many innings. Oswalt was a big strikeout guy. Blyleven was a big strikeout guy. Gun to the head, I would say Blyleven. How many years was he in Texas, Judd?
Summer of 76, 77, 78, 2+ years.
So we only have 2 cracks at it.
Yep. Because in 79, he was a Pirate on the We Are Family team.
I vote Oswald or Hamels.
All right. I mean, if you're right, they're both not going to be huge scores, right?
That's the thing about Blyleven. Blyleven would be low. Would be a very low rarity score. But, But Judd's completely recusing himself from this whole
I'm being reclusive right now because I've been burned. I have burned this before.
I try Cole.
Oh, dude, you're
feel more comfortable with Oswald.
You're about to pull the trigger.
You're going rogue on this because I am not confident in this. So
Okay, we got to try somebody.
Yep.
Go ahead. No, I mean, if Declan's more confident in Cole Hamels than the rest of us are in
I like how this
else,
team is falling apart. our team, we're on the verge of greatness, and we're just falling apart.
6% on Cole Hamels. Okay.
Yeah, see?
Nice job.
Good job, Dex. Good job, Dex.
Nice job.
All right, so you said
Can
Rio.
I look up Burt Blyleven just for fun?
Yeah.
We're not going to use him here.
Okay, Jose Rio.
I said
Was it Rio?
Cueto. Cueto did it.
Cueto did it, but it's
Might be high.
going to be the biggest score.
Might be high.
I'm just looking at Burt here. Burt did not, so I would have been wrong. Burt 182.
See?
So there it is. You dodged a bullet.
That's why I recuse myself. Cincinnati and Atlanta. I'm just gonna think on this one.
Okay. For 200 strikeout pitchers for Cincinnati, Johnny Cueto, Jose Rio, Tom Browning, Tom Seaver, Judd mentioned, Corey Lytle. What about Edinson Volquez?
Oh, interesting. Shortstops.
Remember that guy?
I wonder if Matt Latos did it. They had, I mean, those Reds teams in the
Oh,
early
I know.
10s had some horses.
They did. Edinson Volquez actually might be my new favorite here. We're just gonna sit here all day. This is amazing.
I'm trying to think of Brave.
We're
I'm trying to think of more.
15 minutes into this.
I'm trying to think of more rare Braves and Reds.
I mean, there's got to be. You know who was that guy? Jordan, the '90s outfielder.
Brian Jordan.
Brian Jordan
Played for the Cardinals.
Cardinals, not Reds. Okay.
Not the Reds. I
I
think
think
he played for
Aaron Harang.
Ray Lankford. Ray Lankford. Didn't Ray Lankford play for the Braves?
Ooh. No, he played for the Cardinals, but then he played for one of those. I don't know. He played for both those teams.
Oh, okay, he played for the Reds.
He was
I'm
a
pretty sure he played
Cardinal
for the
center
Reds.
fielder, and yeah, I think he did play for one of those teams.
Aaron Harang spent the majority with Cincy, but I think he also bounced to Atlanta.
Aaron Harang.
Aaron
Yeah.
Harang. Remember Aaron
That'd be
Harang?
super low.
There's got to be a pitcher like that. That's
Yeah.
Did any of the Nasty Boys ever surface in Atlanta?
Norm Charlton. Jeff Nelson.
Did Randy Myers surface in Atlanta?
I don't.
He definitely
remember.
he definitely started with the Reds. He was a Cub. He bounced around
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah, man.
the Nasty Boys were Charlton, Myers, and Dibble.
Mm-hmm. John Rocker.
John
Played for
Rocker
the
ever
Reds.
pitched for the Reds? Yeah, that's one of those coming to my
He
mind.
did, man.
I mean, couldn't we add Harang to 200 strikeouts even?
He's
like-
one. I put
he was
Harang,
nasty.
Lytle, Latos. They're all like between 180 and 210 strikeouts. So
I'm gonna keep thinking about. I'm gonna keep thinking on Reds and Braves.
what about Kerry Lightenberg, man? What do you think? Not for 200 strikeouts, but
I know that.
for a Red
Which-
and a Brave.
Oh my god.
It's a great one. We're gun shy. We're sitting here. We got 11, 12,
I'm
13,
gun
4.
shy on
We have a
200
rarity score
strikeouts.
under 15% right now.
And Blyleven was wrong. See, I'm gun shy. I threw out his name and it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I vote either Harang for here, or if we
Let's
do
go-
Harang, or we do Harang here and Johnny Cueto.
I think Harang sounds.
Mark Wohlers ever pitched for the?
I don't know about Mark Wohlers.
Okay.
Harang for which square?
Well, I don't remember him playing for the Braves. I just remember him playing for the Reds.
And we have
Sure.
Dion, I guess. Dion and
We could
the
go
other one we
Dion and
said.
Cueto and be done
All right.
if you want. Should we? Let's put Dion in. Let's put Dion in and see.
I
Not on
prefer
the.
to be immaculate than wrong because our score is going to be low no matter what.
This will be like 50%, but
16.
16%.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad.
And then a Red with 200 strikeouts. We've named 10 options here. Johnny Cueto is a sure thing, but it'd be fun to get it. I would say like the second guy I'm most confident in is Edinson Volquez, but
Dex,
if there's
who are you
another
most
name on that,
confident
Matt
in?
Latos is a really interesting one. That dude.
I feel good
Good
with
shove.
Cueto and Harang. I think Harang even like dabbled with the Cy Young and was a strikeout machine
All right.
pre-Cueto, that era. Like
Harang was a
mid-2000s,
very,
yes.
very good pitcher. A very good pitcher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Harang
Pull
would be more rare for sure than Cueto. So, all right, let's pull that.
All right, here we go.
Pull the
Here we
trigger.
go.
Pull the trigger.
There it
Bang.
is. All right, 35. rarity
35. That's
score.
awesome.
You get 5.
5%. So 16% on one
There
guy
it
is
is.
fine.
Spent 20 minutes on the Immaculate Grid. That was
Oh my
awesome.
God, edit.
Okay, let's see.
Now I gotta see.
Oh,
here.
Shohei. Shohei's number
Right.
1 for 2. Yeah, there's Cueto's
A lot of
31.
twins on here, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Andrelton, yeah, Torrey Hunter.
Oh, Cueto was 31.
Yeah.
Wow.
high.
That's too high. Yeah, it's too high.
All right, good thing went around.
Edinson
All right.
Volquez would have worked. Yeah,
Okay.
he would have worked for strikeouts. 206 strikeouts
Oh.
in 2008.
35. Is that our new record? Do we have?
That's definitely the
What-
best that
what
we've
was our
done
score?
collectively. Yeah.
Last week when Phil was out, Declan. That
Oh,
one day.
I think we pulled like a 55 or 60, which was pretty good.
Okay.
I
You know
think.
what? Corey Lytle might have. He was a Philly, wasn't he? I thought he pitched for the Reds. No, he did pitch for the Reds,
All right.
but he did not get 200 strikeouts with the Reds. So,
Bert Blyleven only
Woof.
had 2. Oh, no. Okay. He led the league in 85.
bam. All right, boys. Old Macadac's got to get his way down to the Target Center here for a little
Hop on a
Wolves
scooter.
Media Day here.
Yep.
So, all right, there it is. The SKOR North Twin Show. We are immaculate. Yes, even though it took us a half hour to make that
Even though you
happen.
all tuned out. We nailed it.
See you guys tomorrow.